Hello everyone. So today we are going to cover the topic agreement, offer and acceptance from the Indian Contract Act 1872. My name is Gurveen Kaur, Assistant Professor in Department of Management Studies. So let's start with the first part, that is the agreement. So under the section 2E of the Indian Contract Act 1872, every promise and every set of the promises forming the consideration for each other is an agreement. So whenever there is a promise between the two people, suppose A and B are the two people, they are having some promise between them. So A want to sell, let's consider an example. A promised to B to sell his laptop for rupees 25,000 and B accept to purchase it for the said amount. Here A and B enters into an agreement. So here two people are going to enter into an agreement. The person making the proposal is called the promiser and the person accepting the proposal is called the promisee. So here A is the promiser and B is the promisee in the above example. So there is an agreement between A and B. A want to sell the laptop to B for rupees 25,000 and B is going to accept that thing. So that is an agreement between the two parties. So there is an offer and the acceptance between the two parties over here. Next are the types of the agreement. The first is the valid agreement and second is the void agreement. So first type, the valid agreement, and valid agreement is said to be valid if it can be enforceable in the court of law. Section 2H of the Indian Contract Act 1872 says that an agreement enforceable by law is a contract. So a valid agreement is a one which is enforceable by law. So a valid agreement, there is an agreement between A and B. Now when they do it in writing in front of the law, in front of the court, in front of the government offices, it get it registered in the written form and get it registered, then it is known as a valid agreement. Next is the void agreement. According to section 2G of the Indian Contract Act 1872, an agreement is not enforceable by law is said to be void. So an agreement which is not at all enforceable by law means which is not valid as per the law, which do not exist as per the law, they are known as the void agreements. Section 24 to 31 and 56 of the Indian Contract Act 1872 lays down the provision related to the agreement which are declared void as following. So why they are being declared void? If the consideration and the object are unlawful in part, so which are not right in the eyes of, in the terms of the law, they are unlawful, then they are not known as the valid agreement, that will be a void agreement. And agreement without consideration, so anything when something is not given in return, so that is without consideration, so that will again be a void agreement. An agreement in restraint of marriage, so anything related to the marriage and agreement which is done in the marriage, that would be restraint of the marriage, that would again be a void agreement. Agreement in restraint of the trade, when the trade is not possible, it is going to create any problem in the trade, then again a void agreement. An agreement in restraint to the legal proceedings. Uncertain agreements, the agreement which are not possible. I am going to bring moon from the sky, this is not possible. Moon can't be brought by anyone to the earth, so that is an uncertain agreement which is not possible at all, which is impossible. Then wearing agreement which is not at all legal, which is not at all existing. Then agreement contingent on impossible events, the events which are not possible, again then again it would be an agreement which is not at all possible. An agreement to do impossible acts, the act which is not possible to be performed, the things which cannot be performed, the acts which cannot be performed, they again are the impossible. Agreement to minor, the one who is below 16 years, when both the parties are under the mistake of the laws, when both the parties, they are not lawfully people, under the in the eyes of the law, they are either the criminal, they are either the victims, they are either they are the murderer, whatsoever may be the reason, they are not the part of the agreement. All agreements are not enforceable by law and therefore all agreements are not contract. So all the agreements are not possibly enforceable by law. So when the agreements are not enforceable by law, means they are not the contracts. Next is the difference between the agreement and the contract. So first is the contract engaged from an agreement. So agreement, when agreement happens, then only the contract happens. An agreement emerge from the consent of the parties. When both the parties says yes, when both the parties have the common consent, then it becomes an agreement, and after agreement it becomes a contract. An agreement enforceable by law is called the contract. When an offer made by one party is acceptable to the another party with requisite conditions, then it becomes the agreement. So both the parties, they accept the conditions, they are giving their acceptance, and it becomes the agreement. A contract is defined under the section 2H, and agreement is defined under the section 2E of the Contract Act 1872. The elements of a contract are agreement and enforceability. Elements of the contract are agreement and enforceability in terms of law. Elements of the agreement are the offers and the acceptance. So elements of contract are the agreement and enforceability. Agreement is there and it is enforceable by law. Element of an agreement are the offer and the acceptance. One has given the offer and another has accepted it. A contract is normally in a written form and registered. It is not necessary to have an agreement in the written form. So agreement does not need to be in writing. It may be an oral agreement also. There are legal obligation in a contract. There is no legal obligation in an agreement. It has a narrow scope. All the contracts are agreements in nature. So it has a narrow scope. It has very narrow scope, and all the contracts are need to be an agreement in nature. But in terms of agreement, it has a wider scope. All the agreements are not necessarily contract. So it is not important that all the agreements are necessarily to be a contract. So next topic is the proposals. Proposal or the offer. So under the section 2A defined that the proposal, when a person signifies to another his willingness to do or to abstain from doing anything with a view to obtain an assent of the other to such an act or the absence. So that is the proposal. Proposal is when we are going to give some proposal to another person and he or she may accept it or it may reject it. So that becomes a proposal. For example, A offers to sell his motorcycle to B for rupees 3,000. B agrees to pay rupees 3,000 for the motorcycle. Now here A is called the offerer or the promiser and B is called the offeree. So they are going to accept it. So they are going to accept it, and the offer and the proposal which is given by the another person, that is accepted, and that goes for an proposal between the two people. Just a minute, let's go for this. So here A is called the offerer or the promiser and B is called the offeree or the promise. So under section 2A reveals three essential elements in an offer. Now what are the three essential elements in an offer? Made to the another person. Now offer is always made to the another person. A person cannot make an offer to himself. So a person cannot make an offer to himself. It will be offered to someone else. That is the second person, with the object of gaining the consent of the other person to such an act. Now the proposal is always given, an offer is always given to the another person with an consent that the other person is going to accept that thing, or he or she is going to give some consent related to it. Expressions of willingness to do or not to do something. So it is again an expression of willingness to do something or not to do something. That would be another element of the offer. Do something or not do something means either a person is going to give the consent, or he or she is not going to give the consent. Next, kinds of offers. Now there are two kinds of offers. how made and to whom made. So under how made is the express offer or implied offer, and to whom it is made, that is the general offer or the specific offer. So express offer, an express offer is the one which may be made by word, spoken or written, such as the letter or the email, etc. So that is the express. It is either in writing or in the words, or in the oral communication, or a letter is written or an email is written. So that all are known as the express offer. Implied offer means, an implied offer is one which may be gathered from the conduct of the parties or the circumstances of the cases. So as per the case, as per the circumstances, some kind of situation arises. So as per that kind of situation, an implied offer is given. So that offer will be gathered from the conduct of the circumstances which are happening in a case. So that is the implied one. So it automatically happens. General, an offer made to a definite person is called an general offer. So it is given to a definite person. Specific offer, when it is given to some specific person, that would be into the specific term. So that are the specific offers which are addressed to the whole world, which is given to the whole world in general. So that is when a special offer is addressed to the whole world, it is called an general offer. An offer must be distinguished from a mere statement of the intention, an initiative to offer, a mere communication of the information in course of the negotiation, a casual inquiry, a prospectus inviting the public to subscribe the share or the debentures of a company. So these all things would come into an offer that must be distinguished from all other parts of the offer which is given over there. So these are the essentials of an offer which is being stated over there.